You know, when I was back in the Marine Corps as a young lad, private to private first class, then lance corporal, then back to private first class. When I would talk to my senior leadership, usually guys 12 years and up, so like E6s and up, they would have this saying, the saying honestly that a lot of older people say, but they would say, you know, the Marine Corps is what you make it. And I'm sure they said that in other branches, the military is what you make it. I'm sure they say that in other organizations, whatever this is what you make it. But when it comes to the military, I completely disagree. The military sucks. The military blows. You're always gonna be getting yelled at. You're always gonna have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're always gonna have to wait 5 times the amount of time you actually have to wait. But the thing is, there are some good things about the military, and usually they're like these things that aren't too important in the grand scheme of things. They're like guilty pleasures, kind of. That's what I'm gonna talk about in this video. I'm gonna talk about the small things about each branch in the military that really make it kind of worth it. All right. And the very first one I'm gonna start off with is the Navy, and they're honestly the whole reason that I'm even making this video. They were the my favorite benefit, I guess, if you call these things, from this list is from the Navy. The fact that when you go on a deployment with the Navy, you get to visit not one, not two, not three, but up to like somewhere probably like 9 to 12 countries in a singular 6 to 9 month span is insane. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years and I was able to deploy with the Navy twice, once on a special purpose MAGTF and then on another MEU. And the special purpose MAGTF was a lot shorter. It was only a few months. And even then we still went, I think we went to like 8 different countries. And then on the MEU, I went to like another 9 different countries. It's insane. I've been able to see the world for extremely cheap, honestly. They were paying me. And yeah, I mean, I was getting paid shit, but for extremely cheap, they get paid more out there. It's just amazing the amount of places that I've seen. I've been to Sweden and I've seen the Northern Lights. I wasn't even like, we weren't even out, like we were training in Sweden. I was on watch actually. I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning for my watch. I look up in the sky and the sky's green. I'm like, what? Pretty crazy. I went to Dubai, off the coast of South Africa, or like more north South Africa. You know what I mean? Spain. No, Italy. We went to Italy. I went past Spain and through that canal in between Spain and Morocco. I believe that's where we went through. We went to the Baltic Sea. That might have been different deployment. Who knows? I don't know. Just crazy the entire time I was there. Like Germany, Ukraine, before all this stuff. The amount of places that you can go on a Navy deployment is insane. And that's from the experience of a Marine. So I got lucky that I went on these deployments. But if you're in the Navy, then I think you have more options on where you got to go or what deployments when they get to happen and stuff. So I assume that you might be able to go on more deployments in a 4 year span. Of course, with all that being said, there is the negative that to get to all these countries, you have to do that on a Navy ship, which is not the most comfortable 6 months of your life, 9 months of your life, especially when you're in a berthing with 39 other Marines. It's not a comfortable place. It's not a good smelling place either, that's for sure. And on top of that, if you're out there for 6 to 9 months, you have to expect the typical claustrophobia, the seasickness. You get tired of people that you live with. There's a lot of fights. People don't like each other. A lot of fights between Navy and Marine guys and girls. All right, what was I talking about? I just got to call it. My bad. The claustrophobia, guys, the Marine Corps and the Navy guys fighting all the time, guys and girls. Besides that, yeah, the living on ship is probably the worst part of being on the Navy, but you do get to travel the world, and I think that is honestly one of the biggest benefits that you get from any branch in the military. Now, with that being said, there are a few cons, like I mentioned. A lot of fights. For some reason, the only fights that really happen are between U.S. service members. I don't understand why, because every time that I've done anything with like, Royal Marines, Swedish Marines, it's always pretty chill. You usually end up drinking with them, but once like the Navy and the Marine guys get together, they're always bickering. Actually, one of my Air Force buddies told me that when he was out, I think in Yemen, he was staying out there on base, and for whatever reason, the Air Force, they had barracks, and when the Marines showed up, for whatever reason, the Marines had to stay out in tents. So it was just like a sea of tents outside of their barracks that they were sleeping in. But the Marines ended up getting pretty pissed off about this and going into the Air Force barracks and waffle stomping the showers. That ended up, I'm assuming, ended didn't end too well. There's a lot of bickering, but for some reason, just like the U.S. service members are always arguing. But when it comes to like the foreign guys are kind of chill. And then that leads me into the very next branch, the Air Force. And like I already said, the Air Force just gets all of the nice things, the quality of life things. Like they have the best living standards, they have the best barracks, they have the best chow halls. Guys, I've heard like legends about these guys' chow halls. I'm pretty sure they get warm seats. They get everybody gets their uniforms pressed, but they just have one of the best or the highest quality of life situations in the military. I don't even think the army, like, actually I don't think the army is as good as the Air Force, but I do believe that they should be fairly close because I think so. The reason for this, I'm pretty sure, is that the Air Force, the Air Force, the Army, and then the Navy all get direct checks from the government for their budgets or whatever is what I've heard or read somewhere. And then the money that the Navy gets goes to the Marine Corps, and then that is why the Marine Corps is pretty shitty. But the Air Force gets a bunch of money and all their shit is pretty good. And then the Army should be right behind them because they are the biggest branch. And the Navy, their quality of life situation isn't that great simply because they have to live on a ship anyway. So it doesn't matter how good their barracks are. Like for the most part, they're like your deployments are gonna be in a ship. You're gonna have to do a lot of ship stuff. So that really brings it down. And just being on a ship is pretty bad anyways. But yeah, like the Air Force just has the best quality of life, and the Army should be right behind them. And there aren't really too many bad things to say about the Air Force. Like live pretty nice, man. It's like basically going to college. I think like the biggest complaints that people have from the Air Force is like they don't feel like they're in the military, but like who cares, man. And then like they have slower promotions over there, I've heard too. So probably got to stand out to get promoted over there. But that just means you got to put in the work. So, now next, the Army, the big basic branch of the Army. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. The best thing about the Army is the fact that they are the biggest branch. So that means they have the most bases. That means you can basically go to every state in the country and then be at an Army base. Pretty sure that's true, actually. I mean, you can go to wherever you want in the country. You can probably go wherever you want in the world, to be honest. They have bases everywhere. That's the biggest upside to being in the Army. Then it's pretty chill. It's a lot nicer than being in the Marine Corps for sure. I've done a couple things with the Army, like a couple operations or just training operations. They talk to each other pretty relaxed, call their sergeant Sarge, which is interesting. But besides that, they get deployed for like a year and a half or some crazy shit like that, man. Fuck that. Oh no, they're just out there sitting in freaking desert for like a year and a half, man. That's horrible. But yeah. And then last but not least, or very much least, if you guys want to live a happy life, if you guys want to find the love of your life and raise a beautiful family, work with people that aren't miserable and aren't alcoholics, then you should not join the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps is the most miserable, makes it so much harder than it has to be. Extremely fun though, place or branch that you will ever go to. It's so miserable, but like the amount of stupid shit that you do when everything is so miserable and everybody else is just as miserable, it's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, there's not too many benefits to join the Marine Corps besides like it just holds more weight than the other branches. That's about it. Like if you say I'm a Marine, that sounds better than saying I'm a soldier or I'm a sailor or I'm an airman. That's literally it though, because the 4 years there, Marine Corps infantry. 4 years there, you're gonna get yelled at a lot. You're gonna get yelled at more than every other branch. You're gonna get told to do stupid shit more than every other branch. I mean, I've been out for like not more than, probably like coming up on 10 years. So I'm sure it might have changed a little bit. But when I was leaving, hazing they were cracking down on it, but it was, you could still get told to do stupid shit. So, but yeah, it's going to be pretty miserable, but it'll be pretty fun too if you decide to go that way. There's nothing else besides tradition and weight on your name. Oh, and then I guess after you leave the Marine Corps, then if you put when you tell people that you're a Marine, then it sounds way better. That's about it. Besides that, they have the worst barracks, they have the worst chow hall, they're overworked, they get paid the least, so you got the worst gear, bro. We're still using M16s when I was coming into the infantry. Like when I was leaving the Marine Corps, there was a day that we had to go clean our old condemned barracks because every single room, the wall was covered in black mold, and we were in there with fucking push brooms, just scraping the fucking and soap and bleach. I'm pretty sure scraping the black mold off the ceiling, the wall, everything. This was like 4 months before I was leaving the Marine Corps, bro. Then this is Normal, all these barracks just get condemned because people leave for deployment. Then nobody's taking care of them. Mold everywhere, and people get back from deployment, or some reservist unit has to come in and use some barracks, and somebody's got to clean them. And for some reason, it's a bunch of Marines that got to clean them. I don't know. We can't hire janitors or some shit to clean this, or to hire somebody that can actually maintain barracks. Whatever, man. That's it for the video. If you guys like the video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're not sub, hit that sub, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.